Good morning, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. Today we are playing with a deck that I built myself. So Sean D sent me a challenge. They wanted me to build the best transmute artifact deck that I could. And I got a little bit lucky. Probably 2 weeks ago, by the time this video actually hits YouTube, someone 5-0'd with a blue-black Tezzerator list. And the deck did not have Transmute Artifact at the time, but it at least gave me a starting point for what I could use to, like, revisit Tezzerator in 2021. So, old man talk. Back in my day, before we had all these Urzas and fancy cards, the blue-black artifact decks used to win the game via Tezzeret Agent of Bolas, and we liked it. This card used to be really powerful. It used to be just an awesome draw engine. It used to create large creatures that were outside of, say, lightning bolt range. And it also had an ultimate that could be activated after one turn that often just domed the opponent for lethal or close to it. And the Tezzerator decks tended to be pretty good against the blue decks because they were good at grinding. They had things like the Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek combo for the games that went long, and that was just a way of creating this awesome stream of creatures that also helped to stabilize your life total at the same time. But then, starting about the time that the Antiquity Wars got printed, the Tezzerator style decks really started to fall out of popularity because there were just better cards being printed, and it became harder and harder to justify playing Tezzeret. And at the same time, the answers to Planeswalkers were also starting to get better. And so Tezzeret hasn't reared his face in quite some time. We're going to see how it feels today. One thing I am excited about is that I've never played Tezzeret alongside a Karn the Great Creator package. So we can put a Thopter Foundry and a Sword of the Meek into the sideboard as a way to, like, finish out our nice fair combo that should do pretty disgusting things versus a deck like Delver. The one thing that I'm worried about with how I put this deck together is that I think I'm not a very good deck on turn 1 unless I have Ancient Tomb. So for turn 1 plays without Ancient Tomb, I basically have the Mishra's Bauble and sometimes the Emery. This is a deck that really gets going on turn 2, and that's the cost of playing Chalice of the Void here. We have a little bit less acceleration than some of the, say, Urza Echo decks, and I'm wondering if that will come back to bite me, or if it'll be okay because we have such a robust endgame. Hopefully Force of Will, buys us a little bit of wiggle room here. As far as the sideboard goes, most of it is a Karn package, but I want to talk about one card in particular that I'm testing out today, and that's Baleful Mastery. For 4 mana, you could exile target creature or planeswalker. Okay, that's not great. Why are we playing this? Well, there's a flexibility. You can cast a spell for 1 and a black, and if you do, an opponent draws a card, but you still get the same effect. This is something that people talked about in Legacy as, like, an option, and a lot of people said, very nice hyperbolic statements like, I would rather die than let my opponent draw a card. But given how powerful some things are, like, say, Uro, it maybe isn't unreasonable to try this card out. And we're a deck that's going to want a lot of mana come end game anyway. Maybe this is okay here. This is one of those things that I want to try out, and we'll see whether this feels terrible or whether it feels good. I don't like to crap on cards before I've actually tried them. British did every wrong. Thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate the support. Another fun card in the sideboard here, we have Ashiok Dreamrender, which shuts off searching as well as nukes graveyards, and nuking graveyards is really important in Legacy right now. I'm excited to try this one out. I don't know how well we'll do. When you don't see Tezzerator around for a very, 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 very long time, and we're talking like years, that's probably a sign that the strategy has fallen out of favor. But like we're gonna give it a go and see what sort of disgusting things that we can do. For folks watching on the YouTube end, please consider throwing me a like or a subscription if you're regularly watching my content. That sort of thing helps me out a ton more than you know. All right, let's battle. All right, for round one, I've kept an opening hand here that has access to the Thopter Foundry combo. So, oh, shit. God damn it. What did I even do? I was trying to turn off this stop. Oh shit, I hit yield until here, not set stop. Okay. Well, starting the video strong. Okay, it doesn't matter. We were just gonna die on turn one to Reanimator anyway. Well, at least my mistake didn't punish me. But that's super disappointing. Make them believe I'm Manaless Dredge. Sounds good. Alright. Crypt. Ashiok. Do I want to just board in the bridge, or do I want to leave it as a wish target? I also probably want this as duress. I think I need early interaction here. Like, I know, like, Karn represents 4 copies of Tormod's Crypt, but I'm not making my Karn on turn 2 most of the time. I'm probably making it on turn 3 most of the time. Alright, Toxic Deluge isn't great. Tezzerator and Thopter Foundry are both a little slow. Like, although I guess Thopter Foundry can just stonewall at Grizzlebrand forever, technically. I need to cut some of this slower stuff. Maybe I'm just supposed to win mostly via creatures. Let's board these out since the pieces are individually quite bad. I like both transmute artifacts as a way to jump to Ensnaring Bridge. And then let's go down one more card. One Emery? Maybe one Emery. Oh, excuse me. Although Emery is a way to tutor for a Tormod's Crypt. Very, very loose air quotes there. Maybe we go down one Tezzerator. Well, this is an awkward hand that has a few redraws. Can't do this Chalice on 1. I get 2 redraws with Bobble. I have Transmute Artifact to work towards a bridge. I'm gonna ship this one. This hand also does nothing. Jidem and Apple Pies, thank you very much for your continued support. Oh yeah, this one is going back too. Yikes. So I have Graveyard Hate, no ability to cast it. I get 1 redraw. We're on to 4. Yeah. Is this the desperation keep? This might be desperation keep time. My opponent says, "Can't let YouTube see me get bodied." You're in luck, Shark. I don't think I'm doing anything this game. Match, rather. No. I'm just gonna sit here and hope that they have only one way to get their creatures into the graveyard. Alright, let's draw some land. Hey, that's a land. Now, next turn, let's draw another land, and specifically, it needs to make either blue or black. Then maybe we can talk. Alright. So this time I'll play it out. I'll see if we draw exactly land into Ensnaring Bridge, I guess. But if my opponent just makes another creature, I think I can go ahead and pack it in. Yeah, we can stop here. My opponent is gonna get to draw their entire deck. Alright, we got bodied. I have kind of an unimpressive hand here. This hand doesn't really do anything. I'm gonna go ahead and mulligan. This hand's not great, but it's not bad either. Let's ship an Emery and go ahead and keep this. I'm just so much worse at doing a turn 1 Emery than a lot of the other like Emery Echo decks. I would love to draw like a Bobble. How does he do it? How does he do it? Okay, I think I want to keep this Bobble in play for right now for Metalcraft. I need to work towards Karn. Yeah, see you have to call your shots, good or bad. Makes for good clips and audience react moments. Yeah, Emery is sick. On the off chance that my opponent is playing a Life from the Loam deck here, I kind of want to get 2 basics over the next 2 turns. Right, my opponent has an Uro. In case anyone's wondering why I floated mana to play around some sort of like Daze effect. Force of Negation has nuked my Bobble. That's fine. Slightly awkward because that takes me off of casting Karn next turn, but that does mean that my Karn is alive. Okay, I can just double Strix next turn now. And I feel so smart playing around Life from the Loam. Good stuff. Good stuff past Phil. I want to fetch this swamp out of my deck. Go ahead and do that now. So that's my next artifact to turn on Mox Opal, which is nice. Alright, now we have like multiple cards. We have an Ensnaring Bridge, so the Uro can't attack. We have an Urza, which can really bump us ahead in terms of mana. One thing to keep an eye on here, though, is that my opponent has Life from the Loam plus Uro. Life from the Loam, like, you dredge it, and then that puts a bunch of cards into your graveyard, which makes it easier to just cast an Uro. Or rather, escape an Uro. He's so smart. So smart. I get to, like, do everything I could possibly want this turn, basically. How am I doing today? Well, this round is fucking fantastic. So overall, let's say good day. Let's ignore that a round one happened before this in 5 minutes. Let's not talk about that. Like, if we want, we can just assemble the Thopter Foundry combo next turn. I can also just go for a Mycosynth Lattice kill. We have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 power in play, plus access to a Karn. Yeah, so we just had Mycosynth Lattice lock there. I don't think Thopter Foundry combo will be too bad to click through, because, like, you can only activate it as many times as you have mana in a turn, right? So, like, you might click that whole thing, like, 6 times or something like that. That doesn't seem bad. And, like, you click it 6-ish times, you pass the turn, you attack for 6 or 7, you know? You pass the turn, you do it again, and then your opponent's dead. Like, that seems okay. With Urza, I go infinite. Shit, I forgot about that. That's one of those things that I would realize immediately after I was going off. Yeah. Well, okay. Alright, I want these Ashioks. I probably want these things in the sideboard to tutor for. Alright, let's try this thing out. Board this in? Maybe board that in. Let's start trying to board without it. So, oh, this isn't as an additional cost to cast. Nice. I was about to say, I usually board out crop rotation style effects versus blue decks. I don't know that I actually have to do that here. Hmm. Oh my gosh, it is a wild Barra. Welcome. I'm doing well. Cut Chalice? Yeah, I like Cut Chalice. Like, I'm looking to outgrind my opponent more so than anything else. One duress style effect that can also snipe a small creature. Second bridge. Yeah, the new cards from the D&D set / Modern Horizon 2, damn, are looking bonkers. Alright, I don't think I'm going to use this Mishra's Bauble for Transmute Artifact this early, so let's just cash this in for a new card. I mean, the Urza's Saga land is, the thing that has my eye. That card is probably going to do stupid things in at least one format. Like, in Legacy, that sort of thing will be really good with Painter. In Vintage, you can do a lot of gross things that involve tutoring for your Black Lotus almost every game. Is it maybe speculation that it'll get reprinted? That would be my guess. Our Thopter Foundry sort of the meek combo, not looking particularly good against Leyline here. Yeah, Mark. So, like, the thing would be, if it got reprinted in this Modern Horizon set, then it would be modern legal. And if people can fuck up Tron lands with Wasteland, that would very much change the format. Yeah, I guess you're right. Hmm. What am I looking to do with this Transmute artifact? I can get an Ensnaring Bridge to hide behind. I can just turn it into a Strix. I can turn it into a Signet. How am I winning this game? Probably this Karn. I like getting this bridge this turn. Land destruction makes me feel good. May trample on my opponent's feelings, but, you know, certain costs have to be paid. Feels like my opponent has hardcast Force of Will. Who's the bait spell? Turn the bait spell, and then I turn all these artifact lands into 5/5s with Tezzerator, and then awkwardly look at my ensnaring bridge and cry. Probably not. Let's continue to beef up the artifact count and throw OG Tezzerator out there. I think I just have to get this Force of Will out of my opponent's hand. Oh, well, okay. Hmm. Now I don't know what to do. I just expected this to get Force of Willed 100% of the time. Am I grinding now? I guess I'm grinding now. Opponent is playing some sort of Loam deck. We saw like Uro, Loam, Brainstorm Ponder, Wastelands. I don't know that opponent's deck has like a true identity. Like, I'm assuming they're a Field of the Dead, probably Primeval Titan deck. Yeah, given like that we've seen 2 red lands, I think Omnath is a fair bet. Yep. So now we're probably going to see Field of the Dead and Valakut, which will snipe my Tezzerator. Yeah. Savage Beating, thank you very much for following. I need to get this Dryad out of play. Have anything on my sideboard that can do that? No, not really. Great, great synergy. All right, I guess I need to Baleful Strix into a removal spell. Lands is not popular right now. Lands is pretty good now, though. Yeah, I think this is the point where I'm basically dead. Like, this fetch land represents more Valakut triggers and more zombies. Primeval Titan can't attack, but life is no bueno right now. Yeah, lands got this new card called Valakut Exploration, which gives them the ability to grind without using the graveyard. which is something they've always really wanted, but has been awkward to do because things like Tireless Tracker were just pretty vulnerable to removal. Grixis card. EE for 3, that gets rid of Ensnaring Bridge. I will just die immediately this turn to a whole bunch of Primeval Titan triggers. So I probably need to bring in Toxic Deluge as a way to kill the Dryad. My transmute artifacts are getting a little bit worse if my opponent has ley lines, then they don't represent this combo kill that I want them to represent. Oh yeah, Blue-Red Delver specifically is the deck to beat right now. That deck is quite good. I have 2 mana on turn 1, but I have nothing to do with it, and I also don't have a turn 2 play. Man, this hand looks so good in theory, but I just don't think it's going to be fast enough. Ugh. Alright. We'll see if this hand is terrible or acceptable. Oh yeah, I have multiple top 8s with Absolute Laws in my deck. I have top 8s with more shameful cards as well. Lone Missionary being one of the ones that really stands out. I walked into a small tournament in Roanoke, and the room had multiple burn decks and also this like Boggles deck. And I got out my box of bad white cards, and I was like, okay, what can I do? Oh, my opponent just kept something without much land. That's not good for them. Like, I'm going to cast this Ashiok, and if my opponent can't force it, I shut off their fetch lands and probably win the game on the spot. Unfortunately, Force of Negation won't fight back against a Force of Will here. Or against a Pyroblast. If it's not your turn. Alright. That's okay. Next turn, we'll get cute and we'll actually use Transmute Artifact for its original intended purpose. There is a real temptation to Force of Negation this Ponder. I don't think I do it. I think it's just better to like try and assemble my combo. Oh, they even shuffled. Nice. So lucky. That's also quite lucky. That's good. Imos and Burt Reynolds, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. Let's transmute artifact. Okay, do I junk the Baleful Strix to have both of my pieces in play, or do I junk the Sword of the Meek for the value when I sacrifice the whatchamacallit next turn? I think I just junk the Baleful Strix. Like, I'm not killing my opponent with this additional 1 damage. SDK, thank you very much for your continued support as well. Yeah, I don't think I want to leave one of my pieces in the graveyard for a turn if I don't have to. Ooh. Alright, let's just rip a Planeswalker. That's not a Planeswalker. Alright, we have 3 control cards. Find something that does something. Like an Emery would be pretty hot. Start recurring my combo pieces from the graveyard. Or Callum Smith's Esper Mentor deck from recently was pretty cool. Dang it! Oh no, not another Dead Guy Ale list. Oh no, whatever will I do? Yeah, inject that stuff directly into my veins, it's so fun. I have an Orzhov Dreadnought video going up tomorrow on YouTube. That is just the hypest shit ever. Dark Ritual, Torpor Orb, Dreadnought, turn 1. It was very fun. I wonder at what point I just like trade this Force of Negation for any card. I can do that now. And my opponent still doesn't have green. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. This is not the best use of this card possible, but if I draw one of my meaningful cards, I'm not going to be able to hold up this Force of Negation. So I just want to keep my opponent off of green, which is probably what allows them to, you know, do the thing. I mean, Dead Guy Ale is as playable as it used to be. It's 2 artifacts. That's okay. It has gotten some very good cards. There's this card Fracture that exiles an artifact, creature, or planeswalker for 2 mana. That's a big one. Ah. You're EE on 2, you say. Would be a real shame something happened to those artifacts you wanted to blow up. Hey, Skullclamp, welcome. Oh, I did this wrong. I should have not tapped Seed of the Synod and then just animated it. I'm sorry, I was told we were an artifact deck. Like, any artifact, and I got back the Sword of the Meek, and I could continue sacking things with Sai. But, like, honestly, that one's on me. I should have done 5 damage to my opponent there. I don't think I cast Ensnaring Bridge here. I think I'd rather just hold up Baleful Mastery. No, I don't think Tezzerator is a playable deck anymore. Like, obviously I'm playing it, but you know. The Urza Echo deck is just so fast and so consistent at doing a similar game plan to womp womp, to what a Tezzerator deck wants to do. Now behold, Sword of the Meek in all its glory. It returns. I think it's better to hold up Baleful Mastery than it is to get 1 more point of damage this turn. Oh yeah, there have been plenty of, like, deck ideas that I've played where, like, the donor was definitely onto something and there was a very good idea there. I don't think I can use my brain power to figure out, like, which one of those decks were, like, you know, quote unquote, the real ones right now. But there have been things that I've played where it's like, man, when this deck draws hot, it is just insane. Um, this is a hand that doesn't really do anything, but I'm not sure that I'm supposed to mulligan it. I get 1 redraw here, and I have, like, a decent amount of mana. Plus cards that are powerful in certain matchups. Maybe I'm supposed to find something that's slightly more proactive. I think this one's borderline. I'm gonna go ahead and mulligan because I think my Emery hands are very good, and I think my Ancient Tomb hands are very good. I'll keep this. I don't think I want to be pitching Force of Will with this hand. Sorry, I don't think I want to be pitching my Strix to Force of Will with this hand, rather. Yeah, turns out, like, if you're in white-black, you can play, like, 12 pieces of both sides of the combo. And it just ends up being very consistent at, you know, quote-unquote, doing the thing. This is a long pause. Just like statistically right now, the thing we're most likely to be playing against is Blue-Red Delver, but it's a little weird that Blue-Red Delver doesn't open up with any play. I don't think I'm a deck that gets to play around days. I think I'm a deck that just, like, eats a daze when it happens. I have a bunch of 4-drops, so if I get the dazes out of the way with my early game cards, I'm good with that. Because it's somewhat hard to play, you know, a mid to end game, like, say, Tezzerator, around other cards. Around days, specifically, sorry. The best league of the week will probably be my Ant League I played with Cyrus. Got ye old GP champion to hop on a Google Meet with me, and we played through a league that was really, really cool. So now I kind of think we're playing against maybe Show and Tell if this Chalice resolved. Cyrus is a powerful wizard. And he can do the Storm Math so quickly. Like, I've played more Ant than people probably realize. Like, I played a good amount of Ant off stream 2 or 3 years ago. Wastelanding me means they want to just bring back the Brazen Borrower. We're gonna try to roll this, assume the first one gets countered, and then try to resolve the second. Sure. Jidem, yeah, that sounds about right. Oh yeah, there's discussions of lines. Cyrus does a lot of the heavy lifting, but there's a couple of times that I point out some alternative lines from what he suggested. So, like, I am probably a... I am probably a very slightly below average ant pilot. Like, I don't know if I want to call myself an average quality ant pilot. That might be generous. Um, but I am at least competent. I'm just a little slow. Like, a lot of times I have to math things out. Like, I have to get out the paper to do it. But I can usually get the job done. I can get Psy going next turn. I can maybe outpace this Uro with my construct. I think I'm confident enough that I don't want to draw another land, that I'm just going to fetch another UC here. I'm pretty confident with my lines once I get going with Storm. But there's a lot of times where I pause for 2 minutes and, like, I work out the math. Alright. This is just an activate Urza, hope for the best situation. I think it is. So now this is a 5/5. Ant lines are often pretty deterministic. Like, once you math it out, there's just a huge portion of the time that you can actually just kill off a Past in Flames when you don't think you can kill off a Past in Flames, or you can Infernal Tutor Chain to build up the last couple of storm counts you need. The real time it's non-deterministic is when you have an ad nauseum, and then things are a little more murky. But you try not to ad nauseum if you can avoid it, since it introduces variance into your combo kill. It's not like TES, where you, if you cast an ad nauseum or what is it, peer through the abyss, peer into the abyss, that you almost certainly win because your overall deck's converted mana cost is so low. Yeah, ant brainstorms are interesting because there's a lot of times where you're like, okay, I'm 1 mana short. If I cast this brainstorm and I get something that actually nets me mana, I'm in a very good position. My bird has Death Touch, so what's up? Alright, Urza's getting double bolted here. It still leaves me with a 4/4 and Psy. Oh. See if this happens. I can force a negation a counterspell. I actually, like, finally have that mana available. My opponent has 4 cards in graveyard that aren't Uro. They can turn into 5 cards other than Uro if they just wasteland me. I think it's time to just nuke their Uro. So this also gives me a dude off Psy. Makes the construct bigger. So I want to go ahead and attack with my creatures, get in the 6 damage with the construct, and then I can nuke Uro afterwards. And I don't think I want to try to mess around with, like, timing the Tormod's Crypt after they put that last card into the graveyard, because things could get weird with priority in some instances, and that could bite me in the butt. Ethereal Forager. Opponent's build is interesting. I haven't seen anything quite like this one. We were talking about this earlier. I don't remember if it was before or after the stream actually started. But Abundant Harvest is seeing a lot more legacy play than it used to. Well, I don't know that I get to say that it used to, because, like, the card's new. But the card is really picking up in testing. Like, a turn 1 cantrip that allows you to hit a land 100% of the time is valuable. And then once you make it to the mid game, it turns into a spell. It's fine. So Karn can just get lightning bolted down this turn. Good morning. All right. So my construct got 1 smaller. My opponent can play an Ethereal Forager. Which I can try to just brick wall with Thopters. Alright, they're holding up some mana. I can get Mycosynth Lattice, but the Mycosynth Lattice plays into a lot of different things. Okay, I'm just getting stifled. That's fine. I think it's worth it to convert this into a new card. Ah, a new arrow. Okay, cool. Glad you conceded before you drew that arrow. Alright, so I have Ethereal Forager to worry about. I have Uro to worry about. I'm gonna guess there aren't Delvers in there? Question mark? I think I want Ashiok's. I think I leave the Torma's Crypt in the board to wish for with Karn. I think I do board in the Baleful Mastery. I think I don't want Toxic Deluge. Kind of want to be able to force on my own turn. I might trim Force of Negation here. I'm unsure how I feel about Chalice on the draw. Maybe I just need it as another strong must answer early play. I'm thinking about either trimming Opal in one transmute or trimming both transmutes. Like, getting to 3 or 4 mana is really important in this matchup. I think I'm going to try this. Alright, no lands. Mulligan. Awkward hand. But probably keep. Hand gets better with so many different draws. Like, an early Tezzerator is great. Basically, any land, any blue or black producing land is great. It lets me Strix on 2. I have another redraw off of Bauble. Yeah, that's totally fine. Alright. They have a land. I'm happy to draw an under. I think they just skipped their turn. Wow. That's awkward. And, like, I know they have a Misty, so they just accidentally F6'd their turn. I mean, yeah, we take those. Like, I did one of those earlier, right? Like, first game action of this league. I accidentally skipped my first turn. You have to just, like, not tilt off about it and just, like, reset yourself. %, forcing back if my opponent can counter. Alright. Tezzerator. Tezzerator doing Tezzerator things. We have actually 2 wins. We might end up positive this league. That's exciting. Alright, we are playing against a Gyruda deck. So presumably a combo deck of some kind. I think I'm going to keep my hand that has some Force of Wills here. And I'll try to assume that Emery ends up doing some good in some capacity or another. No? No, you don't get Bob. Yeah? Oh, beautiful draw. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful draw. Now we go Opal, Seat, Emery, and we can still pitch Baleful Strix to Force of Will if my opponent does something ridiculous again. Excuse me. Excuse me, you might not be able to see the screen over my giant erection right now. We just hit Sword of the Meek and Thopter Foundry off of a 1 Emery trigger. Fucking love it. Uh, yeah, you can have your Stonecoil Serpent, I guess. Even turn on Mox Opal, so it's not just me. So now I can sack my Mox Opal to start the chain. I'm not sure if I am supposed to sack the Mox Opal. I probably am because I just bring it back with Emery next turn. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and sack my Opal. Destroy target creature with no counters on it. Interesting. Do I care? Not sure if I care. I can care a lot more later. Like, for right now, getting the opal is nice. But if I draw a bauble or something, it becomes, like, way more important for me to have access to memory. Now, for those of you playing along at home, remember Stonecoil Serpent does have reach. Can I always yes this? No, I can't always yes this. Yeah, see, so like, this is a quote-unquote infinite combo, but it has a finite end each turn, and that's totally fine. Like, this will take me, 20 seconds to click through, which is very different than something like the Jeskai Ascendancy. We'll see if I get punished for saving my Emery by my opponent, like, playing Auriok Salvagers, making infinite mana this turn, and then killing me. Wow, a second Heartless Act. Oh wait, I could just sacrifice that Thopter. It doesn't matter, though. Oh, no, 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 no. Wrong order. This. Pay 1. Then sacrifice that. Looks like I need to reboot Moto before the next round, though. I am definitely getting some lag here. No, I tried that. I can't always yes to it. I don't know why I can't always yes it, but I can. No. Absolutely not. Yeah, there's a lot of weird things in Moto's codes where, like, things are treated as entirely different objects once they have moved to a new place. I really wish Magic Online would do something that could reasonably shorten loops. Oh no, I would not play the challenge with this deck. Okay, so my opponent has infinite mana, and then they can cast a Gyruda. Don't know that that actually gets them to a win. Like, given what I've seen from their decks so far, I don't think Gyruda kills me. It's like, there's just a bunch of things that they can hit, like Stonecoil Serpents and Auriok Salvagers. Like, this isn't just a pile of clones where it, like, my opponent is guaranteed to be able to kill me. Like, they can just hit a Salvager or another Stonecoil Serpent, and I don't care. Wow, they happen to hit Walking Ballista there. That's unfortunate. Okay, so they will get to Walking Ballista kill me. So I'm just going to go ahead and concede rather than have my opponent click through this. They get infinite mana with this, and then they kill me via Walking Ballista. But it would take my opponent like 5 minutes to do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and concede here. I'm going to try to concede here. Yeah, I mean, we just needed our opponent to not hit Walking Ballista, and we won. Like, all right. So I want Ashiok. I think I want the Tormod's Crypt to tutor for with Karn. Sorcerer Spyglass is legit. I think that's probably what I want. I don't think Ensnaring Bridge is particularly great. Alpha Mastery is okay. I think my opponent is just going to be faster than us in a lot of cases. I think to make room, I need to trim these. And while Chalice on 0 is pretty tight against my opponent, it's really awkward for me. How do I want to play that? Like, do I want to play Chalice on 0 and then just, like, cut my Mox Opals? Makes my Emery so much worse. Hmm. That's like, legitimately interesting. Yeah? Yeah? Keep the Chalice on 0s on the play and then board them out on the draw, maybe? Although this shuts off my Tormod's Crypt plan. Hmm. IDK. Yeah, this hand's fine. Pretty happy for Ancient Tomb. Although, somewhat awkwardly, Ancient Tomb doesn't cast my 3-drop on turn 2 because it has double colored pips. I think I'm supposed to just go for Tezzerator next turn. Nice. Oh. That was somewhat unexpected. And quite good. Oh, they took Ashiok, leaving me with Tezzerator. Very happy with that. Well, the better question is the deck itself playable? I would start there. I have Heartless Act to think about. I'm not sure if I want to turn Chalice into a creature first or not. I think I will. Because if I'm just trying to clock my opponent, hitting for 6 this turn is nice. I think I'm just trying to end this one rather than play this one defensively with Tezzerator. Fair. Also quite good. My opponent plus on my Karn, what happens? Or sorry, plus on my Chalice, what would happen? I think that overwrites the thing from Tezzerator. Oh, right, non-creature. Alright, so it won't work. I was trying to figure out, like, why have I never seen this interaction before? That's why. You would need, like, liquid metal coating involved to also get that thing to happen. So now my opponent's thinking about whether or not they're attacking this Tezzerator. Oh, nice. So I have Force of Negation for this ensnaring bridge that's about to come down. So I can 100% kill the Karn if I want, by minusing on Baleful Strix and sending both at it. But then I lose this Tezzerator. And I can't Thopter Foundry and Force of Negation in the same turn cycle. That's just not going to work. I think I 100% want this Karn dead. And then I think with 10 power, I can be okay. I draw another Tezzerator. I very specifically want to play Seat of the Synod. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And even though I have 5 mana, I don't have quadruple colored mana. My opponent doesn't currently have black for their Heartless, whatever it's called, card. That's something to keep in mind, too. Ooh. Honestly, do I just let that resolve and just kill it? Like, they can blow up one of my lands, plus it to 6, and then I just kill it. Yeah, I think I'm good with this. I technically should have floated the mana. Oh, that's something that doesn't get Force of Negation. That's a little annoying. This can put this Karn to 1. I just hit them. And either one of my creatures getting through next turn is lethal. I don't want to ignore Karn because Karn is very good, but I know I need to Force of Negation this Ensnaring Bridge. That's coming. I probably don't have to deal with the second bridge. And I think I'm beating a Lattice currently. I think if I just keep playing this game against the Karns, I'm going to lose in the long term. Zap, your English is way better than my whatever language you natively speak. No need to apologize. Alright, so again, I don't think a Chalice on 2 really does anything. Same with Chalice on 1. I think I'm just gonna pass here, intend on hard casting Force of Negation. Now, there is one slightly awkward thing about this, and that's that the Ensnaring Bridge does go to the Exile Zone. It can be gotten with Karn if my opponent knows about that line. I am hoping to just draw a land so that I can cast this Chalice on X equals 3. Pro. Fuck off. Like, that's rude as hell. What I do while I think, while I provide you with free entertainment is my business. Actually, I might need Thopter Foundry here to make some 1/1s. If my opponent knows about the get ensnaring bridge line. Oh shit, this is not active because of the Karn. Right. The Ashiok wasn't doing much anyway. They knew about the line. Okay. That's fine. I can find a Tezzerator and bleed my opponent out. That is the 6th mana for Mycos and Flatus, though. Is a problem. One, two, three, four, five, six. This land is 1 card late. This was 1 card earlier. I would have been able to Chalice on 3 and stop the lockout. Alright. GG's. Okay, I think I need another mana with this opening hand. This one doesn't quite work. How much do I believe in Emery? How much do I believe in Emery? I am on the draw with Emery and Mishra's Baubles as redraws. I would have to... No, I'd have to Chalice on 0 to put the Emery into play. Mox Opal isn't live until I have the 3rd artifact. I don't believe in Emery this much. This is fine. We have to keep 5 of these. The Thopter Foundry 100% goes back, and then... I think I just need to make my land drops consistently with this deck. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my endgame payoff. I'm just going to go ahead and fetch a basic around a Stifle now. Alright, I'm going to be under a lot of pressure quickly. My opponent has a Sprite Dragon. So I think if my Baleful Strix doesn't, well, actually, either way, if my Baleful Strix gets countered or my opponent has a Lightning Bolt, I'm going to take just infinite frickin' damage. My opponent did not play Sprite Dragon, which is interesting. That makes me think Spell Pierce. So I'm going to play Baleful Strix over Chalice. That is the cost of the sequencing in that order. But it just really feels like Spell Pierce. Oh. I don't know how I'm supposed to win this matchup. My opponent has, like, so many good early threats. And my Tezzerator is not gonna do a ton here. Oh no, there's a Daze. Okay. Here's to, I don't know, drawing Thopter Foundry off the top next turn. We've got two of them. I guess there's also the transmute artifacts. I'm just taking half of my life total here, so life's bad. Plague Engineers in the sideboard are going to be pretty good against Young Pyromancer. I mean, so I can cast the Tezzeret, gain 4, go to 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not technically dead. Yes, not technically dead is okay. Oh wait, shit. It -4. I can't do that ability immediately. So I'll have to like plus on my sword. That means that I'm dead. Alright, I get to board in 6 removal spells, which isn't bad. I think Karn is probably too slow for this matchup. Like, despite the fact that it tutors for Ensnaring Bridge and my other combo pieces, like, I don't know if I have that time. Like, I could definitely just, like, board in these 3 cards and board out the Karns. The Karn just gets pressured so much, and it's so bad against Daze. I have so many cards I'm boarding in. The transmutes need to go. Transmutes are so good for bridge. If I do this, and just intend on winning with Thopter Sword. Oh, I didn't actually board in this other stuff. If I cut the Karns, I really need this stuff in. I don't know. I think I'm going to have a hard time getting Metalcraft in a lot of games. Try something like this. Trying to play a very strange control game here. I think I'm going to go Delta Pass, not fetch around Stifle. Because I want to get a non-basic land. Should have played my Bobble. But I was explaining things. Yeah, like, I think if I'm getting wastelanded off of my art... Oh, nice. I think if I'm getting wastelanded off my artifact lands a good portion of the time, I don't actually have enough early artifacts to enable Metalcraft. My hand is now very good. I think I escalate this collective brutality this turn. Duress him and kill a Delver. Alright, that's a bunch of bricks. Okay, so my opponent is just giving me that game after landing a Chalice. I'm happy enough with that. I am a weird, slow control deck. I mean, let's run it back and see if we can do it again. Hand's great. I get to attempt Chalice on one with Force of Will backup. I wonder if I force this Delver. I've collected Brutality. But I could take like 6-ish. I think I really want to try to resolve this Chalice. Alright. Now we're hoping that the Delver doesn't blind flip, and I can just take it out on my next turn. Nice. I don't think I want to escalate this. Nice. Okay. I'm in a very strong position now. There are still things that I can care about. That's one. That's unfortunate, because that spell resolving is the difference between me 2-3ing and 3-2ing this league. Feels a little bad, but has to be done. Alright, I need to draw something that stabilizes the board from 1/1 tokens. If I can do that, I probably win. But I need the draw this turn. This doesn't technically count. That's unfortunate. Alright, now my next draw needs to be Plague Engineer. Or a Baleful Strix into something else. That is unfortunate. Alright, overall thoughts on the deck list? Like, the Tezzerator shell that I'm playing here feels too slow for 2021. We're just so much slower as an artifact-based deck than something like Emery Echo or even Steel Stompy. We're not as good at controlling the deck as, you know, at controlling other decks as something like a Bant deck, or we're even not as good as controlling a deck as a Delver deck. And that leaves us in this awkward spot where, like, we're doing a bunch of things that are kind of fine, but I don't feel like the power level's quite here. The transmute artifacts that I was supposed to build around were okay. I think they fetched an important ensnaring bridge once, and I think they fetched a combo piece once. But overall, the utility that transmute artifact offered didn't really feel all that great. And that leaves me feeling mediocre about this deck list. Like, this was a fun league. I enjoyed playing this league a lot. But I just don't feel like we were hyper competitive. We very nearly 3-2'd. And I would have been very happy if we did. But like, the deck put up an okay performance. But I think we just have a handful of issues. We're a little slow. It's a little hard to enable early Metalcraft. We want lots of soul lands, but we really can't afford the City of Traders because, like, we need this mana over multiple turns, and too many soul lands means that it's harder to cast things like Baleful Strix. So this was an okay league overall. For folks who watched on the YouTube end, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. It helps out a lot. If you want to try out this deck list, check out the video description. And if you want to see your own deck on YouTube, the donation information is in there as well. All right, have a great rest of the day. See ya.